YouTube, what is the word, what's the vibes? It is I, and today we're going to be doing another 5-minute reviews. Today, it's for the... And to kick us off, I think we gotta start with... Now, the plot of this reboot focuses on Hazel Wells and her family as they move into their new Dimsdale. But it's not Dimsdale, it's actually Dimadelphia for some reason. And what's interesting is that it doesn't really make a lot of sense because, as we are aware, in the old series, Timmy needed fairly odd parents, and we realized that from exposition in the show that it's one of the prerequisites to be selected to have a fairy godparent is that your life has to suck, and Timmy's life sucked, right? As we can see very evidently, the fact that Vicky and his parents are ops, they are oppositions. Yeah, Hazel has none of that. She has loving parents who understand her, who make time for her. The only real thing is that she's bummed out that her older brother's in college and doesn't have the time to link with her anymore, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, it's really, let's maybe suck it up. There are people with a lot worse problems. How does she qualify? You know what I mean? But that's just the plot. So let's move on to the... I would say the benefits and the good of the show is the fact that as a reboot, it doesn't... Why are dogs barking when I'm trying to make a video? What I would say about the show is the fact that as a reboot, it doesn't take away anything from the original series. It doesn't go back on anything. It uses a lot of the same themes and makes some new ones. We get introduced to some new characters throughout it, like the music fairy and Father Time, whom I think might have appeared in an old episode of Fairly Odd Parents. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, we get introduced to some new characters, a little diversification of the thing, and we expand on some characters that we used to know, like the Doug Dimmadome kid plays a major role now that he's grown and has his own kid. Cosmo Poof grows up into Perry, and that's a whole dynamic that's actually pretty interesting. And then the actual comedy is very reminiscent of that of the old show, and I think that that's a very good strong point for it, because it's something a lot of reboots miss. Like with the Powerpuff Girls reboot, for example, it took away a lot of what made the Powerpuff Girls good, in the fact that it took away a lot of the more nuanced themes and a lot of the more serious elements and traded it in for twerking panda bears and other brain rot like it. Thankfully, we don't see any of that compromise in the Fairly Odd Parents New Wish, so that's a major upvote for it. I'd also want to just throw this in here, the good section. A lot of people were dogging on the theme song. I kind of like it. That's just me though. Now, I think it's time we get into the... the bad. It's actually not as much as you would think. A lot of people, early in the show's life cycle, when they had just announced it, there was a lot more disdain for what it could become, and I was one of those people. I was very, very pessimistic about this reboot. However, I was pleasantly surprised, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect, as there's some moments in it that feel a little brain rotty, and maybe it's because I'm now a young adult. I'm 19, right, and I'm watching the Fairly Odd Parents. Maybe some of the jokes that I think are brain rotty, kids will laugh at. But aside from that, the animation switch was a bold choice. I think we could all agree it was a bold choice. Is it a choice that I like? I don't think so. But outside of the animation, any other major qualms I have with the show are basically not there. It's a pretty decent show that's fairly faithful to the original, and that's all we could really ask for with a reboot. So I guess all that's left is to talk about the guys, girls, listen up. This show right here, I'm gonna put Fairly Odd Parents on New Wish at a 7.2 out of 10. Which I think is very generous, and I think is higher than a lot of you who clicked on this video were expecting. So, what did we learn today? A good reboot is possible. Okay, a Nickelodeon, even though we thought they were kind of dead with, the animation, though they were dead in the water, because a lot of the new SpongeBob sucks, and they don't really make any animation anymore. We thought they were cooked, but in reality they were cooking. And so, as per usual, if you agree or disagree with my rating, please let me know in the comments why or why not I cook. And while you're down there, just mention any show you want to see me do this for in the future. And while you're doing that, let's repeat after me, or say it with me if you know what I'm gonna say. If you like the video, and if you really like the video, then subscribe. It's that simple. And until you do that, thank you for 13 subscribers. I really appreciate it. Peace.